But let's try one more thing here, and we're gonna do some dynamic editing to this table, and this is where I think the real value comes in. We are gonna ask it to add two columns to our table. The first one is gonna be a point of contact at these companies, and then the second one is gonna be a personalized email generated for that point of contact. So let's go ahead and do that. And then it's going to go through and it's going to do the research on each company. The founder and the CEO apparently is what we're going to do. And then set header titles for our table. So point of contact and personalized email. So let's go over and see if it's doing that. Sure enough, we have our new table headers here, or our columns. And here we're seeing our point of contact already be populated. And we have a personalized outreach email here.
Welcome to the AI Marketing Navigator, where we simplify AI marketing to keep you ahead of the curve. Brought to you by Digital Pop, delivering AI marketing automation so your small business thrives. Here's your host, Alex Carlson.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the AI Marketing Navigator. This is your daily compass in the ever-evolving world of AI marketing. Okay, Navigators, we are back tonight talking about an AI tool that I honestly cannot believe we have not covered yet. It has kind of flown under our radar thus far. And so I am super excited to be sharing and talking about Genspark with you guys tonight, the Genspark Superagent. So if you are watching along on video with us today, you are looking at the Genspark homepage right now. It's actually going to default you to their Superagent. And I'm thinking I'm going to have to call this episode the true all-purpose AI agent, because as you can see here, there is very little, if anything, that you cannot accomplish here in the Genspark tool. You have that Superagent capability, and then you have slides and sheets, the two new features that we're going to be talking about. Just so much goodness here, so much capability, all wrapped under the one Genspark platform. Like I said, very little, if anything, that you can't do here just right within Genspark. And this is due to this mixture of agents kind of system that we're going to talk about in a little bit here. Really quick, a little bit of background on the company. It was founded in 2023 by two former employees at Baidu, the Chinese tech company, Eric Jing and Kei Zhu, with the mission of creating an agentic engine where AI agents autonomously gather, synthesize, and present information. And as I'm going to show you here in a minute, they are absolutely crushing that mission, in my opinion. So we're back here to our homepage now. And the flagship offering, again, is this Superagent, and it's built on a mixture of agents architecture. And it's actually going to combine 9 different LLMs. For instance, if we were to go over to AI chat here, which is just the basic chat interface, the conversational AI, you can see those LLMs here that we have access to. But Genspark, depending on your prompt to the Superagent and what you need to do, it's going to dynamically select the models and the tools that it needs to use. And this is very much the vision and end goal of most of the LLMs out there right now. A huge complaint has been among the users that they're just awkward and clunky by nature, the selecting of models and all the different model names. And the ideal user experience is to not have the user worry about models at all, and really just have the platform implement whatever architecture or tactic or model is necessary for the given prompt. And that's exactly what Genspark is doing here with their Superagent. Just what you're able to accomplish here with the Superagent alone makes it incredibly useful. And that's not even getting into the new features, the slides or the sheets that we're going to talk a little bit more about in depth tonight. Continuing on our little tour of the homepage here, on the left-hand side of the screen, if you're following along on video, that's where you can select either the Superagent or the other tools or agents that you want to use, the slides, the sheets, the image studio or video generation, or you can click all agents, which I've done right now. And this brings you to the advanced agent screen. And that kind of just gives you the idea of the multi-purpose nature of this tool. For the advanced agents you're seeing here on the screen, we have that Genspark Superagent, the default, which is again their flagship offering. You also have the new offerings of slides and sheets. And again, we're going to get into these two in particularly more in depth in demo tonight. Also, definitely check out the announcement videos from Genspark, from Eric Jing on AI slides and AI sheets. We'll take a look at a couple clips from each of those, but I'll also link to the full video in the show notes. But really pretty self-explanatory. In the case of slides, you're going to be able to prompt AI slides to create super in-depth, super well-designed, well-researched presentations. And AI Sheets is actually what I'm even more excited to show and test out for you guys today. It's going to allow you to dynamically populate sheets, and it sounds like a tool very similar to like a Clay or another automatic lead enrichment tool that you might be able to apply or integrate into spreadsheets. All with the use of just natural language, though, here in the case of Genspark, which is just super intriguing to me, and I'm super excited to see what that looks like. And then, of course, we have the agentic deep research that's going to allow you to do just that, deep research. But they also have this really interesting call for me feature, and a couple popular tasks here that they have suggested under it are to like book a table at a restaurant for a celebration, or check if this tennis shop has this certain tennis racket in stock. So you can literally have this agent place calls for you to businesses, which is really interesting. And then the last use case they have here is the agentic fact check, which I also think is really cool. And it's a use case that I haven't seen from an AI or an agent really, which is surprising given the need for fact checking in let's say the flooded nature of the internet space when it comes to data and content and claims. And then down here at the bottom, if you saw me reference it a little bit earlier, this is the mixture of agents, another kind of illustration of just how multi-purpose this tool is. Here you have the mixture of agents for AI chat, for image studio, for video generation, and for each of these, you're going to be able to select exactly which model you want to use. Again, the agent itself is going to be able to do that for you in a lot of cases, but we're looking at like video generation right now, and they have all of these different video models, many that we have talked about and demoed in the past that you can use right here in Genspark. But the main two use cases and features that I wanted to show you guys today are those slides and sheets features. I think they're two features that make Genspark incredibly powerful in and of themselves, let alone all the other amazing seamless integrated generative AI that's rolled into this tool. Because of these two, I think Genspark has definitely leapt up to the front of the line as far as these agentic AI tools. And actually, in the case of the AI slides launch, that's the reason that I finally stumbled back across Genspark. I had seen the name throughout the last year or so of recording the show, but it was actually discussed, the slides feature anyway, it was discussed on the other day, an episode of Marketing Against the Grain, the podcast from HubSpot CMOs Kip Bodner and Kieran Flanagan. I highly recommend you guys add that to your list of podcasts. So when I heard that, I had to dive in and check it out, and I immediately knew we had to get into it on our show for today. And since they covered the slides feature, and since then when Marketing Against the Grain covered the slides feature, Genspark has already added the sheets feature as well, which may or may not be even more impressive and powerful than the slides feature. So let's just start with slides. This is a tool that's going to allow you to, via natural language, generate, again, super professional, super clean, impressive slideshow presentations, whether that's a pitch deck or a report. It can do all of the research to back the presentation as well. It's going to incorporate those sources into the content that it puts into your slides. It's going to allow for the integration and inclusion of a variety of different document types, Word, Excel, PDF, invoices, graphs, charts, whatever existing format your information or data might be in, you can incorporate that into these slide presentations. It's going to take all of those things and use them to generate these structured presentation slide outputs. So let's just take a look at a quick little clip from the launch video about slides from Genspark.
Today, we are shipping Genspark AI Slides, a full agentic tool that makes creating professional slides fast and simple. Say you have 10 invoices, each in a different format. Simply upload them, and Genspark will instantly convert them into a clear report showing your financial status and payment terms. Say you have scattered documents, Word reports, Excel sheets tracking KPIs, and PDFs loaded with customer insights. Let's upload all of them to Genspark and make a performance review presentation. Within minutes, Genspark seamlessly transforms your raw data into a boardroom-ready deck.
Okay, so definitely check out the full video linked in the show notes. He has some really cool examples that he shares towards the end as well. Before we dive into the creation of the slide deck that we did for our demo, which you're seeing right here on the screen right now, there is some custom styling that you can do to your slides, but even more impressively, there's some interactive editing. You can actually see up here, there's a button that says select to edit. And much like the lovable.dev tool that we were huge fans of, and I'm still such a huge fan of on this show, you can literally select the elements in your slideshows that you want to edit individually. And you're going to be able to do that using natural language, things like combine these two charts or add a video to this slide to really drive the point home, change the layout of this slide, add a column here, remove a column. As we just mentioned, you can actually embed different media types as well, audio, video, or other interactive elements into the slides that users are actually going to be able to click on and interact with. Again, if you're watching along with us, you can see these bar graphs in the slide that was generated for us right here. You can hover over them and you get little hot tips or pop-up windows describing the metric. And then you're also going to be able to export these slides or these presentations into whatever platform you might need, PowerPoint or a simple PDF or even Canva. So it takes a little bit of time for these slides to generate, for the model to generate the code and do all the thinking. So we went ahead and created one here. And what they did on the Marketing Against the Grain episode, or I should say what Kip Bodner did when he was demoing this tool, was a couple different variations of how they generated the slides. One was using a style guide, which worked really well for HubSpot, and it's also what I ended up doing for our demo presentation here. I would highly recommend, if you need to match like a brand or a look or a feel, to generate a style guide and use that in your prompt to AI slides. So I kept our demo slide presentation topic close to home. AI-powered marketing automation for solo entrepreneurs. And we incorporated all of the tools or tech stack that we might need to fulfill that offering: Lindy, Zapier, Clay, HubSpot, Instantly, AI SDR, all these things that we've talked about on the show. And we were able to create this on the free tier. You get 200 credits to use on the free tier. Let's actually just hop over really quickly to the pricing page before I forget. If you are going to pay annually, you're looking at $20 per month for their Plus, or $200 a month for their Pro, and really just big jumps in the credits available per month there. I think it appears that the credits really are the only difference between Plus and Pro. And I think if you're going to go monthly, it's $25 or $24.99 and $250 per month for the Pro. So, and again, you should be able to get in here and do some testing of the tool for free. Maybe you have one presentation or one slide deck that you need to create. But at the very least, you can check out what we are able to do with our little slide deck and what we were able to do. Hopping back over to our slide deck here, like I said, I actually already went ahead and generated this. I haven't done any editing though, so this was the one-shot creation that the model generated, and this is how I prompted it. You can see this if you're watching along on video. I attached the Digital Pop style guide, and I said, create a professional slide deck titled AI-Powered Marketing Automation for Solo Entrepreneurs, featuring these 6 tools. Listed off the 6 tools. I said the slide deck should begin with an engaging title slide, include a slide highlighting the challenges solo entrepreneurs face with marketing, provide an overview of how AI automation addresses these challenges, feature individual slides for each of the 6 tools listed above, show how these tools integrate together in a marketing ecosystem, including data on the potential ROI and impact. And actually, as you'll see, that slide ended up being the only little challenge for the model. Provide implementation and guidance, and with a compelling call to action. And then it gives it some design considerations as well, things like modern, professional aesthetic, appropriate data visualizations, visual representations of each tool. So anyway, this was a prompt that I had Claude whip up, and I really like it. I think it was a good one. And as you can see, you're seeing this presentation that it created for us on the right-hand side of the screen. I think it did really quite a nice job, Genspark slides. On the left-hand side of the screen, if you're watching along, you can see all the work that was done by the agent. It searched all the tools. You can view each of these individual tasks as well, these search tasks, and it breaks down exactly what it went through and searched. Then it did an image search for each of the tools as well that we're mentioning in our presentation. It did an image search on the different types of charts and graphs and visual representations that it might need to use for a slide deck like this. And then what it does is it actually codes up these presentations. You can see here on the right-hand side of the screen now, for each of these slides, there's a preview, but then there's the code that it generated as well. And then it even gives you a little explanation of the reasoning and the thinking that went behind the slide design. But you can do even more than that. Just at the click of a button, actually, you can see here, you can fact check the content on the slides. And then again, this is where that select to edit feature that we already talked about is located as well. And again, just scrolling through the sides, they absolutely adhere to our style guide. For the most part, they were, I'd say 99% usable. Again, there's one slide that we'll see here at the bottom, and I think I'll just go to it right now to show you guys where it kind of tripped up a little bit. I think it tried a little too hard in this integrated marketing ecosystem slide. You can see we have a lot of these overlapping elements that we are having some issues with. But again, this is the only slide that I think is not really usable. But you can see how each slide is uniquely designed for each individual tool. It absolutely nailed down the purpose and the value behind each tool as well. Just tons of different charts and different types of data being incorporated here. And if you were to hit the fact check the content button, it's basically going to just auto prompt the tool over here on the left. It says fact check all the content on page 3. If the content is right, show me references with clickable links. Otherwise, tell me where it's wrong and search for content with references. So I think that's a really nice feature, especially in a super data-rich tool like this. So I would highly recommend doing that fact check for slides as you're creating them. And then lastly, up here is the view and export. Again, so you can view your slideshow and you can play through the individual slides. I did check and see if our strangely laid out integrated ecosystem slide looked any better in the preview or the actual view here, and it does not. So there was still something a little bit wonky about that one. But you can export here. You can export to PDF or PowerPoint, or you can even edit in Canva and Figma. So that's a really cool additional feature as well. Now, if that wasn't cool enough, the latest new feature from the Genspark Superagent is AI Sheets. And we've talked about AI enhanced spreadsheets and data analysis a couple times now on the show. We've talked about Canva's Magic Sheets. Gemini now integrates with Google Spreadsheets and does some amazing AI analysis on that level. We've talked about Clay, the data enrichment tool that operates in spreadsheets. And it looks like this very much is in the same vein, but maybe the most seamless of the experiences of any of those, in which you can simply, in plain and natural language, have sheets created and generated for you automatically. Let's just take a look at another little snippet from the launch video just to give you a better idea.
Genspark can automatically find companies, people, products, or any data you need. Let's ask Genspark to find healthcare startups that are at Series A or Series B stage, founded after 2020, with their most recent funding round occurring in 2024 or later. Within minutes, Genspark delivers a comprehensive spreadsheet profiling 129 companies, all with recent funding in 2024, founded after 2020, at Series A or B, complete with industries, founders, and investors.
Okay, so that should at least give you a little bit of an idea of what you can do here. And I hope your gears are turning with all the use cases as far as prospecting and lead generation goes. That's absolutely what we were going to demo here for our spreadsheet that we're going to do in just a bit. But particularly fascinating to me is just that auto data collection, the fact that Genspark AI will go out and find the data to populate your spreadsheets for you, and then the ability to take that data and with natural language do some conversational analysis as well. And this is something that has and will be becoming kind of the general expectation of any tool or software, just to be able to converse with it in natural language, and something that we couldn't really picture doing not that long ago, especially with these huge data sets and spreadsheets. Much like the slides feature, you're also going to be able to do some really advanced visualization and some combination and merging of a lot of disparate reports and data types into one cohesive spreadsheet report. And just like with slides, the use cases here are numerable. You can upload a huge amount of marketing campaign data. You could do what we just saw in their little snippet of the demo and do some prospecting, generate startups or accounts or companies that you want to target for marketing purposes. That's just to name a couple. So let's get into it. Let's demo something here really quick for AI Sheets. Basically, what I'm going to demo is exactly what they do as the last use case in that video from Genspark on AI Sheets, and it's the perfect marketing use case. It's exactly what I've been using all of these AI spreadsheet or data enrichment tools like Clay and now Genspark to do. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to populate our spreadsheet with an ideal list of prospect accounts or companies, just like they did in the demo. And we're going to pull a bunch of relevant data. We're also going to do it by location and region. And then what they did in the final demo there was basically send out personalized emails using these LLMs to generate the copy for each of these prospects. We've done that a few different times in some other tools for our demos as well, and it's exactly what we were going to do tonight. So if you didn't check it out in the demo video from Genspark, you'll see it when we do it here. And just selfishly, I need to do it. It's a super good process and workflow that I got out of recording this episode. And again, at least you'll get a little bit more of a slowed down look at what this process looks like within AI Sheets. Okay, so my prompt was pretty simple. I just said, please find small businesses in the Detroit metro area that have 5 employees or less, and that would be ideal for a pilot test of an automated AI marketing system. Let's go ahead and run that, and I think it'll probably take a little while to generate this, so we'll skip ahead if we need to. Right away, it's using a tool called the Advanced Crunchbase Search, so that's what it's going to use to find all of these prospects. Again, I'll skip ahead to the point where our sheet is generated. Hopefully we'll be able to generate the sheet with the remaining free credits that we have on our account. Okay, so now we have our first little bit of work being done. They've created a table, but they noted that these were organizations with 1 to 10 employees, which would also actually be fine for my purposes. But they're going to filter it further to meet our 5 or fewer employees requirement. And it also says here it's going to identify which ones would be ideal for a pilot test of an automated AI marketing system. Let me use the Pandas data frame operation tool to filter and transform this data. But you can see already here the type of data that's being pulled in on our different companies, the website, the employee count, the category, the name of the organization founders, the investors, just a ton of different dynamic data points being pulled in. dynamically and automatically from Genspark. Okay, and we were able to, in fact, narrow this down a little bit further. I did have to bump up and get that plus tier in order to get us through the calculations here. But let's try one more thing here, and we're going to do some dynamic editing to this table. And this is where I think the real value comes in. We are going to ask it to add 2 columns to our table. The first one is going to be a point of contact at these companies, and then the second one is going to be a personalized email generated for that point of contact. So let's go ahead and do that. Please add 2 columns to the table, one with a point of contact at the company and the other a personalized email for that outreach email for that contact. Let's see how that goes. And we have our response. I'll add 2 columns to your table, one with a point of contact at each company, another with a personalized outreach email for that contact. I'll use the company information we've collected to create relevant emails. And then it's going to go through and it's going to do the research on each company. The founder and the CEO apparently is what we're going to do. And then set header titles for our table. So point of contact and personalized emails. So let's go over and see if it's doing that. Sure enough, we have our new table headers here, or our columns. So I'm going to let it go through and do the research on each of our companies. And shortly here, we should be seeing these fields populate right within our table dynamically. And again, this is very similar to some of these tools that we've used, like Clay. And here we're seeing our point of contact already be populated, and we have a personalized outreach email here. But as I was saying, this is very similar to some tools that we have seen, but the fact that you can just do it automatically directly from your prompt here within the agent, I think is really cool and definitely a little bit of a differentiator. Now, as we see this continue to generate our personalized emails here, one little hack that they mentioned in the demo video on YouTube for Sheets was that you could actually prompt it to include a little button or link to mail the email directly from the spreadsheet here. Kind of a cool little enhancement. Okay, and there we have it. We have our 15 new prospects right in our area that match exactly what we were looking for as far as our prospect qualifications go. And now we have these personalized outreach emails for each of them as well. Now, it did take a little bit of time for all of that to be generated. I do think, after going through the entire process, that I think there's a little bit more flexibility and you can get a little bit more creative with Clay in that tool in particular. But just with the sheer number of things you can do under the Genspark umbrella in their Genspark Superagent tool, I think this is absolutely one that is worth some time, worth investigating, and definitely worth considering adding to your AI marketing tool belt. I know I certainly have. Okay, that does it for tonight's episode. If you enjoyed the show or found it useful in any way, please do me a favor and follow on Spotify or subscribe on your podcast platform of choice. A review on top of that would be even more appreciated and is by far the most helpful thing you could do for the show. Also, if you are watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you get notified each day when our episode drops. Until then, and as always, thank you so much for joining me. And remember to stay curious, stay consistent, and keep navigating forward. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the AI Marketing Navigator. Ready to simplify your own marketing automation? Digital Pop helps make it happen so your small business can scale your marketing fast. Learn more at thedigitalpop.com.